Hello and welcome to week 132. As with previous weeks, I'm going to break it down into 4 sections to see how this week's gone. So let's dive straight in with the first section. So starting with the old Bonce, which hasn't been too shabby this week. I have to admit to having quite a bit of red wine last night and being considerably hungover today. But I really needed a bit of a blowout as I've been so focused on work and the kids and Bex and all that kind of stuff this week that last night I just wanted to cut loose a bit and it felt really good. I haven't been drinking much this month at all, actually, really. In fact, last night was only the second time I've had anything to drink in November, but I did it in style. Bex is continuing to get stronger since her final chemo round, and radiotherapy starts on December the 8th, which I think is the week after next, for a full week of that. So we're going to see how that affects her, but we're both feeling like there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel. University terms are usually only 10 weeks, but we've switched to a semester system this year, which means that we still got 3 weeks to go. Normally we're kind of coming to the end, but we've still got 3 weeks to go to make a total of 12 term weeks. And teaching online is really, really hard work, I have to say. Prep time is completely nuts. It takes about 3 or 4 hours of prep for every hour that we teach. Making videos, watching student videos to give them feedback on, creating online resources. It's a really tough switch for such a practical subject as a music degree to put it online, and it feels like it's really beginning to take its toll, really. It's just a case of hanging in there, really, and not getting too burnt out. Fingers crossed next semester we'll have some interesting and fun changes from my perspective. I'm moving on to a master's course to teach a module on filmmaking and content creation. Like I know anything at all about that. Food-wise, I give myself a 2.9 out of 5 this week. I've definitely been eating more sensibly, and I have definitely cut back on some of the crap. It's not perfect, but it's a start. And there's definitely a shift of weight happening, and at the moment that's all that matters, really. Like most people, I don't think we can really wait for Christmas to come and I can stop teaching. It'll also be the end of Bex's treatment, which started all the way back in May. And like everybody else on the planet, I can't wait really to see the back of 2020. It's been quite a journey and a half, really, with COVID-19, having to teach remotely and learn how to do all of that, and of course Bex's breast cancer and everything else that's come along with that. I think my head seems to be okay this week, though. In regards to this, it's been a fairly solid training week. I had intended to go out and do my long ride today, but I'll be honest, I was far too hungover and it would have taken me up to 200 kilometres again this week, but as a result of not going out today, I've only done 145 kilometres. I've also done 2 30-minute easy runs as I've dropped the intervals for a bit. My heel hurt so much last week that I think I need to work on stretching that out a bit and probably wait until I've lost a bit more weight, really. Alongside the bike miles, I also did a 45-minute interval session on the turbo, and in total that brings me up to 7.5 hours of training this week. It should have been nearer 10 hours, but with the dropped bike ride today, that's where I'm at, 7.5 hours. I'm still waiting to find out what our tier 3 COVID status means for the pool, but I think from what I've heard from my friends, it's reopening. I think I'm going to need to start thinking about factoring swimming back into the equation alongside the bike miles. So I think 2 swims and 2 runs a week along with the bike miles should keep everything ticking over. So in regard to logistics, I haven't really been able to plan many more stages this week. I really do need to press on with getting that done. I've still got 10 stages left to plan, which is just under half of them, and a lot of them are going to take place in Brecon, so I really need to get on with that. My goal is to get at least half of those mapped out by next week, and then hopefully have the whole thing mapped out and GPX'd by the time Bex starts her radiotherapy on the 8th of December. So that means that I can start the recons throughout December and hopefully vitally get the stages out for sponsors and riders to get on with it. In regards to logistics, though, it's been a case of a must try harder week, really, this week. One of the main reasons I've not had the time to put as much effort into logistics is that I've been making lots of videos this week, and I'll go into some of that in just a moment. I've had a few more messages from people saying that they'll ride stages with me, which is absolutely amazing. Several stages in one case with one person. I think so far I have about 7 people that have pretty much committed to riding, which is brilliant news. And thank you if you're one of those people. As I release the stages more formally and set up the charity donations page and roll out all the online stuff, then I think that's going to grow. I've also had 2 businesses committing to sponsoring a stage 2, which is really encouraging. I guess that's 1/10 of the stages I need to get sponsored. And again, I think that will grow once everything's launched online. I need to narrow down which charity the money is going to go to, but I want Bex to ask the nurses at the oncology unit when she goes in which direction they think it's best spent, because I want this money to be something that does something rather than disappears into some of those bigger charities like sometimes it does. In regard to media, I've made some pretty good progress here. I dropped the second of my polar bear series this week. It's a series that I'm making of short films, basically focusing on the cold water swimmers that use my local sea lake. Put a link to the second video here. The uptake's been really good on this. It's generated a lot more subscribers, and if you're one of them, hi and thank you. Subscriptions have gone up by 43 in the last 28 days. So things are definitely growing in the right direction for the channel. The hardest thing to try and generate though is the watch hours. I need to generate 4,000 watch hours, and that's a lot in 12 months. So far this year I've generated just short of 2,500 watch hours in the last 12 months. That said, the last 4 weeks of putting out more videos has seen an increase in this dramatically. Next week I've also got a cycling jacket review to go out, and I'll be back down at the lake filming another polar bear video. So I think the target really is 2 to 3 videos a week. It seems to be the way forward for growing the channel and getting those watch hours up together. The whole idea of this is to get the channel to be a more appealing platform for the more commercial stage sponsors. So the ones that aren't really interested in cycling or triathlon, but want to get their products or services in front of an audience. So 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours is the target, and with that in mind, if you haven't already subscribed, please do so and hit the notifications bell. It'll really help growing the channel, and if you are subscribed, I'd really appreciate it if you go back and watch through some of my other videos. I put the playlists together to make that a little bit easier to find some stuff, and I've rejigged them this week, but hopefully that will help regenerate some of those watch hours up a little bit. There's bound to be a video or two that is interesting to you, from waxing bike chains to the physics of going faster, short films about the lake and swimming, the history of time trialing, pro triathletes swimming in the sea, running 32-minute 10 kilometers, you name it. Take a look and have a bit of a binge. It would be a huge help. And then later this evening, which will be Monday night when this video goes out, I'm going to be a guest on the Running with Jake podcast, or plodcast as it's called. He has so many listeners, and it was really kind of Jake to ask me on his show. I'm going to post a link to it in the description below when it goes live, which I think should be Wednesday. I'll put that in the description. I have no idea actually what we'll be chatting about, but hopefully it will give me a chance to promote the tour next year and probably talk about things like lactate testing and some of the changes, in fact, that I'm making to the way I coach in regard to the research that I've been reading up on in regard to female physiology and how best to support their training. So we'll see how that goes later on tonight. Okay, so a quick summary then. Training's been good apart from the drop session due to a red wine session. Head and body's okay. I think I can drop more snacking this week. That'll be a main focus for me. And I need to get the stages more near completion. I need to get the jacket review out next week and get down to the lake and film the next video. All in all, it's been a pretty solid week again, and essentially more steps forward than backwards, and that's all anyone can ask, I think. And it's Challenge Daytona next Sunday, and I cannot wait for that. It's such a cool race, and the field is absolutely stellar. I really want Paula Finlay and Eric Lagerstrom to do well, because I absolutely love their videos. And I really felt for them when Ironman Florida was cancelled in one of their videos a couple of weeks ago. I know for us it's a hobby, but for them it's their livelihoods, and I do have a feeling that it's been a real struggle for everybody whose jobs it is this year. I also get Lionel Sanders will probably be one to watch out for again at Challenge Daytona. And also a massive happy birthday to the legend that is Stephen Roche this week. He is the main reason that started my obsession with cycling back in 1987. So from me to him, a massive, big happy birthday to Mr. Roche. So that's it from me this week. Let's hope for a bit more dry weather. Stay safe out there, high vis, lights, wear a mask, wash your hands, and don't forget that I love you. I will see you all next week. Have a good week.